guys, how you doing? Ugo here, and welcome to the 99 Days of Value, and this is day 19, and I hope you're doing well. Now, today, as you know, 99 Days of Value, every day we're going to add a day of value to you, to up until and notwithstanding on that day, 1st of January 2023. So we're hoping, it's adding value to your life. Now, today we're going to be talking about something that is very dear to all of us, and human beings. Let's move away from human beings. We're talking about the human spirit. The human spirit is a resilient something. It's something that is driven to try to excel, try to achieve what it sets its mind to, and tries to, there's a rebellious nature, and there's kind of a warrior nature, there's a nurturing nature, there's a caring nature, just to try and see the world as they see it, whether that be in a good or bad way, and trying to imprint themselves, trying to fulfill themselves in a way. And today I'm going to be talking about purpose. And purpose is an interesting thing for people, because it's like, what does that even mean? And purpose is something that, if I have to try and sum it up in some way, shape or form, purpose is something that gives you some level of meaning, and some level of drive to kind of imprint your existence onto the world in some way, shape or form, regardless of the scale. And so a purpose is something that drives you and pushes you as opposed to pull you. Sometimes we find reasons to pull us, external reasons like family, kids, relationships, and we use that as fuel to pull us to do stuff. You wake up in the morning and yes, your kids, you can hear kids, okay, or school fees, okay, cool, somebody's ill, okay, I need to go to work, and you find that as a reason to pull us. Now, sometimes those reasons to pull us can simultaneously be a reason to push us, but sometimes the reason to push us always comes, that's from within, and that's reasons for yourself that is bigger than yourself. A purpose anyway, I'll get to that in a second, but a purpose is something that comes from within, that is bigger than yourself and gives you a bigger meaning, and the purpose in itself feeds your why for life. Your purpose feeds your why for change. Your purpose feeds your why for why you're even trying. If you're not bothered with life, or you're not bothered to do anything, most times you don't necessarily have a purpose. And the thing about a purpose is that, everybody has a purpose because you're here for a reason. Not everyone has somewhat found their purpose, and your purpose can something that can have a thread but can be ever evolving. Now, the interesting and good thing about purpose is that when you find your purpose, you can actually start living on purpose. Let me say that again. When you find your purpose, you can actually start living on purpose, and that instead of you just letting life pass you by and you just doing things with life, you actually find a reason to kind of keep going. Now, at the beginning of you searching for purpose, it might be one of those ones where you provide these reasons some of these reasons that I spoke about, in terms of things that will pull you, in order to provide you the energy to keep going. Not necessarily the motivation, but the energy to keep going. The 5 whys are important, but to ask you why you're doing the X, Y yourself you're doing. Why are you trying to do X? Why are you doing this? And get down to the root. Because when you find purpose, the purpose comes to the root. When you cut down a tree, it still keeps growing. When autumn comes and withers away, it keeps going, because the root allows it to sprout anew. It allows it to bring more fruits. And that's the thing about purpose. Because when you see somebody, if you see someone who's driven in their eyes, you see them in the eyes and you look at them and like, yeah, in this specific aspect, they're good. Like, that they're unstoppable. And when you're on purpose, and you're moving on purpose and you're living on purpose, important. Now, to kind of give you a shortcut to understand the quality of a purpose, and the interesting thing about purpose is that, like, a lot of the lot of purpose that is for more, which is fulfilling and pushes you till you are no longer here, always has an aspect of service. It always has an aspect of service to others, providing quality to others, providing help to others. You know, why become an engineer? Because I can make and fix problems that makes people's lives easier. And that provides you a why of what you're doing things. And the important thing of a why is that when you wake up in the morning and what you're doing, you're not motivated to do it. When you remember your why, you know that motivation is not what's going to get you to the end of that. And you can do this with anything. And so why I say it always comes down to service is because, you know, for some people, they feel like they're, because a purpose isn't something that necessarily has an end goal. It's almost like a pure passion that keeps on pushing you, and it's almost like an overarching purpose that feeds you into like whys and milestones and things you need to do to help. If you're somebody who, like, let's say a comedian, like it's somebody that your purpose is to bring joy to people's lives and make people's lives better through comedy. Laughter is always the best medicine. I always kind of say a bit of a morbid joke, but on my funeral, I hope it's a comedy show. People should be laughing, not crying, but cry a little bit, because let me know that you cared. But but their purpose is to bring joy in that way, and so in everything they do, they bring joy because it provides us joy. It provides us moments of laughter away from the monotonous day and things stresses us out, and they keep going, and it doesn't stop with one special. That's the reason why when people make money their purpose, it never really it leads to fulfillment. Purpose, when it comes to it, in those moments where you're hitting your purpose or hitting milestones of your purpose, you never you can finish your purpose, but when you're hitting those milestones of your purpose, fulfillment comes out from that. And when you have fulfillment, that is when you actually feel joy, and joy be a sustained level of contentment. Not necessarily happiness. Happiness is in ebbs and flows. You need to be happy, which is good, but you also need to be sad, as unfortunate as people might want to hear it. And on your journey to get to your purpose, you're not going to be happy the entire time, but you can feel fulfilled in what you're doing because you know the reasons why you're doing what you're doing. And so that's the reason why somebody, you know, who's maybe driven because they've been let's say broke, and they never want to be broke again, and that's the reason they keep on going. When you get to that point where you finally get all the money you want to get, whether it's 1 mil, 2 mil, 5 mil, or even you know, you realize you're no longer broke again. You don't feel any fulfillment for it. It's kind of hollow. And then some people either get depressed that moment. Some people choose to now use the anxiety of never wanting to be broke again, and then feed that into greed to kind of try and make more money, and then try and focus on the money because that gives them some level of thing to focus on, because it doesn't move them away from understanding they've not actually stood to kind of think about, okay, what purpose do I actually have? And so purpose is something that can come to you at any time. It's not something that necessarily can fake. Purpose will come to some level of servitude to other people, providing value, whether that be a product. You know, a lot of things we use today, somebody came with an idea, somebody said, okay, I can make a light bulb, and that helped everybody, and my purpose is to bring light to all the world, or my purpose is to make people's travel easier, or my purpose is to make sure that people are able to recover from a certain illness, or that this many people shouldn't have to die because of this, and you go and make a vaccine. These are purposes of people's lives to kind of actually help people, and you have to understand your purpose is, there's no big or small purpose. You know, like somebody, for example, like your goal could be to open like a barber shop, you know, and then your purpose is to give this person the best haircut they can do, but you provide other stuff within you know, the confidence you can give person by a good hair, you know, being a good hairstylist. The conversations, barbershops and hair salons are like pillars of communities, if you don't know, and these things provide a lot of things in those things, and you check in your way of going to do this purpose of having your shop or whatever. There's other aspects of what you need to do in that moment, because like I said, you are blessed to bless others. And so understanding that, spending time to kind of find your purpose. Now, finding your purpose is something you find along the way. Similarly, of you finding your talents, finding your hobbies, is by trying different things and engaging in different things. But ultimately, it's one of those ones you see from, you ask yourself the question, what has been giving me the most fulfillment? Not the most happiness. I'm not telling you about what makes you smiling. What gives you the most fulfillment in what you do on a day-to-day basis? Derive your purpose from that. What is a bigger reason to you to wake up in the morning? What is a bigger reason for you to kind of on a day where you have no energy, you're tired, you're ill, it's a good enough reason for you to go outside and do what you need to do. Now, for most of us, you start with your family. Most of us start with your friends and stuff like that. And then, it's a good place to start. Start with something that will pull you, and maybe you'll be able to internalize it into something that can push you. But you need to get to something real that pushes you, that's bigger than that. Because if you do it for your family, what happens when you get to the point where, for example, you're financially stable and you've made your whole family financially stable? Then now you're kind of empty in terms of what you need to keep on pushing you, and you're going to find new reasons to pull you. And then that's the reason where kind of people get a bit lost and a bit directionalist, because they're looking for what can pull them as opposed to find something that can consistently push them. So ultimately in this life, purpose is something for you, and it's your responsibility to go find it. You can ask people to help you along the way, but ultimately it'll come down to you, because ultimately your fingerprint is yours to imprint on this world. And ultimately in the back end of your purpose comes a legacy you will leave, and a legacy you leave is in people's hearts. It doesn't, some like some of the people that have made the most impact in your life was in a random youth club, it was in a random shop, a corner shop. London, we always used to call my guy Bossman has helped a lot of people. Whether he knows it or he doesn't know it, he's impacted a lot of people's lives and become a pillar of people's lives. And so you don't know in what aspect you may be doing it, but there's no aspect of your life, or there's no purpose too small that doesn't affect somebody's life. And understand that when you take your purpose and understand that purpose, when you get to the biggest level of it being pushing you, and understand that it comes with service, it comes with providing something to some way that is not yourself, then you found purpose. And if that reason is a big enough reason for you to get up in the morning when you don't want to, then you found not only purpose but meaning that feeds into a why for what you're doing. And at the end of that will come a legacy. It might not necessarily be in the history books, but it'll be imprinted in people's hearts and will allow you to keep moving and have reasons to do what you're doing. Whenever I see people going to university and they choose a course, a lot of people choose the course because of what they have their best A-level results or GCSE results. It's not the best way. Ask yourself, why do I want to do this? Why am I choosing this course? What benefit is it going to be? What benefit is it going to help the people on there? What am I actually looking at as a long-term reason for this course? Because they don't care how short or hard you think your course would be. You're going to wake up in the morning a couple of days and be like, I don't like this course. Why did I even choose this course? Why did I even come to uni? That's when your why comes into play, and your why feeds up into your purpose. Think of it like in a company sense. You've got your mission statements, that you have your goals, you have your values. All of those things come into play. What's your mission statement for you? And if it doesn't involve others, then you still have a place to go. Start with the things that will pull you, and then cement it with the things that can push you. And ultimately, when you find your purpose, then you can start living on purpose. And yeah, all of us benefit from you living your purpose. And ultimately, in my opinion, if everybody was living their purpose, if everyone was sharing their talents, this world would be a better place. And ultimately, that's kind of what we're hoping for it to be. And but ultimately, you decide whether your purpose is going to be positive or negative. But yeah, it is what it is. Life is one of them ones. It keeps it interesting, keeps it interesting. As much as some people might say sometimes it would be okay if it was a bit boring. So appreciate what you got. Appreciate life. Don't forget to smile, because it makes a difference. At least if you're smiling, it makes someone else smile. Then you smile, then everyone smile. That would do that. Hopefully my smile is making you smile today and providing good energy. So my name's been Ugo. As always, your name has been blessed. You filled in the blank, didn't you? And yeah, share it to somebody that hopefully will provide value. And yeah, take care.